Mga kapuso, mga kapanayam natin ngayon ang isa sa pinakamalapit na kaalyado ni Pangulong Duterte. Dati siyang gobernador ng Cotabato na itinalaga ng Pangulo bilang kalihim ng Department of Agriculture. Makakausap natin siya ngayong umaga live mula sa kanyang tanggapan sa Quezon City. Magandang umaga po, Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol.
Magandang umaga sa iyo, Howie.
Pasensya na po, Secretary Piñol, may konting delay lang po sa ating audio. Isa po sa mga usap-usapan ngayon ng pagpapatawag ni Pangulong Duterte sa lahat ng alkalde ng bansa sa Malacanang. Alam namin malapit kayo sa Pangulo. Maaari niyo po bang ibahagi sa amin kung anong nalalaman niyo sa pagpupulong na yon?
Akala ko agrikultura pag-uusapan natin. Anyway, alam ko yung pagpapatawag nung cabinet meeting namin nung Monday ay nabanggit ng Pangulo ito. Alam mo kasi, yung Pangulo dating mayor. At bilang mayor, ako dati rin akong mayor. No? Alam namin na kapag hindi ginusto ng mayor ang isang bagay sa kanyang bayan, say for example, pagpalagay natin, pati illegal fishing, weteng, illegal gambling, drugs. Kung ayaw ng mayor, pwede pa rin mangyari yan, pero hirap na hirap yung operators niyan. Sapagkat pwedeng gamitin ng mayor ang lahat ng kanyang kapangyarihan bilang pinuno ng bayan para ipitin itong mga operators na ito. Like say for example, kung mayor ka at hindi mo alam na mayroon palang illegal fisherman sa bayan mo, abay napakatanga mong mayor. Hindi, ibig sabihin hindi ka effective na local executive because you don't know the realities on the ground. So, it is based on this premise na ipinatawag ng Pangulong Duterte ang lahat ng mga mayor sa buong bansa in his continuing campaign against illegal drugs. Because the President believes that the mayor actually is so powerful that he can identify kung sino ang drug dealer sa kanyang bayan, sinong gumagamit ng droga, paano din i-distribute. And the mayor, provided he is committed to support the campaign against illegal drugs, will be an effective partner of the President in the anti-illegal drug campaign.
Okay, so Secretary Piñol, the difference lang with President Duterte when he calls these meetings, may konting kaba, no? Yung mga ilang participants kasi as we know, he calls out certain individuals, no, in public, sometimes without warning. Wala naman siyang kino-all out na mga pangalan doon sa pulong na yon. He didn't single anyone out or he didn't warn any particular individuals.
Well, I think it is well within his powers as President of this Republic to warn everybody. At may nabasa nga ako sa dyaryo kanina na may mayor na sabi partners niya kami, dapat igalang niya kami. Aba hindi ho natin partner ng Presidente. Ang Presidente pinuno natin. And he can order us to do things. Let us not even entertain the idea that the mayors are not under the President. You are directly under the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Tulad po ng aming kampanya against illegal fishing. Alam nyo, noong Monday, kinausap ko yung Pangulong Duterte. Sabi ko, sir, kailangan kong tulong mo. Kung meron kang campaign against illegal drugs, we also have a campaign against illegal fishing in this country. Sapagkat napakatalamak na ng paggamit ng dinamita, paggamit ng cyanide, at paggamit ng yung buli-buli. Yung pangingisda na ang gamit ay net na pag hinila mo, lahat ng corals ay nasisira. And ako naniniwala ako that hindi pwedeng mag-operate yung mga illegal fishermen in certain areas of the country without the knowledge of the mayor, of the barangay chairman. Yung sasabihin nila na hindi namin kayang habulin sa dagat, di wag niyong habulin sa dagat, habulin niyo sa lupa. Dahil imposibleng hindi kilala ng mayor o hindi kilala ng barangay kapitan kung sino ang involved sa illegal fishing sa kanilang communities. In the same manner, sinasabi ng Presidente sa mga mayors, look, guys, come clean. No? Sabihin nyo sa akin kung ano ang meron sa bayan nyo, sapagkat kung talagang wala kayong involvement sa illegal drugs, then it would be easy for you to support the government's campaign against this deadly problem afflicting the youth of the country today.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, before we discuss agriculture, no, doon din tayo patungo. No? One last question lang po tungkol doon sa pulong. Napag-usapan ba yung narco list?
Well, he has been actually brandishing that thick folder, no? But I never got the opportunity of really looking into it, and I don't even know whose names are there. But suffice to say that I think the president has gathered a dossier on everybody in government right now involved in drugs. No? But that could be an effective SIWAR tool for the president also, sapagkat ikaw, mayor ka, hindi mo alam kung nando yung pangalan mo, wala, you better behave. No? You better behave. And uulitin ko po, no? Kasi merong mga nagreklamo na sinabi daw ni Pangulong Duterte, resign, reform, or die. You know, the president uses colorful language to emphasize a point. And hanggang ngayon, wala pa namang ebidensya na ganun sa ka-violente sa kanyang mga ginagawa. All of these actually are part of his style. No? Yung style ng Pangulo na para lang pa-emphasize yung isang punto, minsan ang gumagamit siya ng mga hyperbole. No? At dapat nating intindihin itong lengguwahe ng Presidente in the context of what he wants to achieve for this country.
Okay. But one final point lang about that, just a follow-up. But doesn't his language encourage others to commit violence? I mean, siya mismo maaring hindi gumagawa ng karahasan, ano? Pero doesn't his language, this kind of language, encourage others to commit violence against others?
I don't know how that would affect others to commit violence. No? If the president uses that kind of language, has been using that for years, even as mayor of Davao City, and the people of Davao City had no problem with that. In fact, they would just laugh. No? Tulad nung sinasabi nga ng presidente natin na, sabi niya, nung sinabi ko na hindi na ako magbumura dahil kinausap ako ng Diyos. No? And then ni-report sa media. Alam mo, mapagbiro yung presidente. pag naniwala ka naman sa ganun, sabi nga niya, naniwala naman sila. Yung Pangulo kasi has a unique character na yung biro niya minsan, he does it poker face, no? And people who do not really know him would think that he is serious with what he was saying, no? Actually, yun yung style ng presidente, and you don't really take every word that he says literally. No? Look at the results of what he is doing. 80+% approval rating, mataas na confidence sa business, mabilis na delivery ng serbisyo, at saka mapagmahal na presidente. Tonight, I'm leaving for Zamboanga because inutusan niya ako. Yung pinatay na walong mangingisda. Pinapatulungan niya, sabi niya, punta mo at hindi ako makapunta dahil na dito si Prime Minister Abe. You go there, you help them, and make sure that the criminals who killed these fishermen will be arrested and brought to trial before the courts.
So, sir, you're going there as his kind of personal envoy or representative, or is that also part of your job as Agriculture Secretary to help out yung naging biktima ng mangingisda?
It is. It is part of my job, actually. In fact, I was the one who relayed to him the information about the murder of those 8 fishermen. And I sought directives from him and guidelines. And I was instructed to extend financial aid, visit the families personally on his behalf, and extend his condolences to the families of the victims. And as Secretary of Agriculture, who has supervision over fisheries, fishermen and farmers, tutulungan din po namin yung mga pamilya ng mga mangingisda na namatay para makarecover sa trahedyang ito.
Nung bagong upo kayo, Mr. Secretary, sa Department of Agriculture, you said na may mahaba rin yung inyong karanasan sa agrikultura, may experience kayo bilang farmer. But after 6 months, what is the most important thing you have learned about farmers and about agriculture in the Philippines na hindi nyo alam nung kauupo lang kayo sa Department of Agriculture?
Hindi ko alam na ganito kalaki ang problema. Now I'm starting to discover it. But I thank God that I was born to a farming family. Nararamdaman ko at naintindihan ko ang damdamin ng mga mahihirap na magsasaka. Yung bang damdamin na masarap magtanim, pero kapag nag-aani ka na, biglang babagsak yung presyo. And this is a problem which I am addressing right now. Because unless we do this, unless we address this problem, talagang mananatiling mahirap yung ating mga magsasaka sa bansa. Kagabi, I talked to 3 business tycoons. Si Don Ramon Ang ng San Miguel Corporation, si Mr. Manny Pangilinan ng Smart Communications, and si Jaime Augusto Zubelde Ayala ng Ayala Group of Companies. And ginawa ko yung tingin ko dapat gawin ng gobyerno. I asked these 3 powerful individuals. Sabi ko, di ba meron kayong mga rice allowance na binibigay sa inyong mga empleyado? Pwede bang direkta nyo ng bilhin sa grupo ng mga magsasaka yung bigas ninyo instead of buying from commercial sources? Because alam nyo, ang problema rito, ang mga magsasaka natin have always been at the mercy of middlemen and traders. Wala silang access sa merkado. Kaya nga pagdating ng tag-ani, i-manipulate ng traders sa middlemen yung presyo, yung farmer ay palaging kawawa. The only way to address that, and this is a problem that has beleaguered this sector for so long, the only way to address that actually is to link up the farmers to the market directly, which was what we did with the onion farmers of Nueva Ecija. Noong nagreklamo yung mga magsisibuyas ng Nueva Ecija na napakababa ng presyo ng sibuyas nila, ay huminga ako ng tulong kay Joey Concepcion, the Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, and Secretary Mon Lopez of DTI. At sa tulong ni Gingay Ontiveros, pinulong namin lahat ng mga key people. Sila TCC, yung SM, Robinsons, Rustans, yung Pure Gold, lahat ng malalaking kumpanya, pati Jollibee, McDonald's, everybody involved, pati yung Max Chicken. Pinulong namin at sinabi namin na pwede bang direkta kayong bumili ng sibuyas mula sa mga magsasaka. Now it's working. They're buying onions from the farmers. And the farmers right now are very happy. So ito po yung dahan-dahan natin tinitignan. At ito po yung isa sa malaking problema na nadiskubre ko bilang Secretary of Agriculture. That unless we assist the farmers and the fishermen in marketing their products, they will always be at the mercy of the traders and middlemen.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, nasabi nyo nga na the problem in agriculture is much bigger than you imagined at the start. No? One way, of course, of addressing all the problems is to have enough budget so you can actually have enough interventions. No? Under the 2017 national budget, sir, 45.2 billion pesos ang itinalaga para sa Department of Agriculture. Sinabi nyo doon sa isang hearing na kahit gawing 50 billion yung budget ninyo ay kulang pa yon. So bakit parang may dissonance itong perception nyo ng problema at yung ibinigay sa inyo na budget para sa agrikultura?
Well, you have to understand that the reason why there was a reduction in the budget of the Department of Agriculture for 2017. But first, let me remind you na yung mga programa for 2017 actually ay na-design ng previous administration. Because actually, Howie, when we prepare the budget, hindi mabilisan eh. Like say for example, for 2018 budget, ngayon pa lang naghahanda na kami. Ibig sabihin ang planning process ngayon nag-uumpisa. January of 2017, we already start planning for 2018 budget. So ibig sabihin, yung 2017 budget actually was still designed by the previous administration. Nagkaroon ng konting pagbabago but very little. No? Now, bakit nabawasan yung budget ng Department of Agriculture? It was simply because in the past, mahina yung absorptive capacity ng Department of Agriculture. May mga pondo na hindi nagamit in the previous years. And ang logic ng mga economic managers is very simple. Kung binigyan ka ng isang litrong, an 8 ounce na bote ng soft drinks, at hindi mo naubos, bakit ka bibigyan ng 1 litrong Coca-Cola? So ganun kasimple. So to answer your question, bakit lumiit? Simply because mahina ang absorptive capacity nung previous administration sa kanilang pondo, and this affected the budgeting process of the DA under this administration. But for 2018, which we are starting to design right now, babaguhin namin lahat ng mga approaches na ito. But even with this small budget, I'm not complaining. No? We are instituting austerity measures. Like say, for example, this morning, pinirmahan ko yung isang memorandum. Lahat ng mga komperensya at mga pagpupulong ng Department of Agriculture ay hindi na pwedeng gawin sa mga pribadong hotel. Meron naman kami mga gusali na pwede namin pagdausan ng aming mga meetings sapagkat napakalaki ng aming expenses sa mga conferences na ginagawa sa Tagaytay, sa Baguio, sa kung saan-saan. So this morning, pinirmahan ko na, sabi ko, lahat ng ating regional offices should hold their meetings in the regional offices. Lahat ng ating mga national meetings should be held in the DA Central Office. Let's avoid wasting government money by holding conferences sa kung saan-saan, sa Boracay, sa Palawan. While of course, alam ko na nakakatulong sa local economy, it would actually serve the interest of the stakeholders of the Department of Agriculture if we save on the money available for us and spend this instead for programs that would contribute to food production.
Okay, sir, just a follow-up question on the budget, no? So nabanggit nyo na it's lower than what you had hoped for. Pero sa irrigation naman, dun sa 2017 national budget, may 38.4 billion, no? Kasi isa sa mga ipinangako ng Administrasyong Duterte, yung libreng irigasyon, ano? Pero itong itinalagang budget para sa irrigation, hindi yun binibilang dito sa budget ng Department of Agriculture. Isn't the National Irrigation Authority under the DA? Bakit hinihiwalay po? Bakit sinasabing hiwalay yung budget ng irrigation?
Actually, yung NIA and 3 other agencies, NFA, National Food Authority, Philippine Coconut Authority, at ang regulatory body na Fertilizer and Pesticides Authority were separated from the Department of Agriculture during the time of President Benigno Aquino. What the reasons were, I don't know. But I actually, personally, kung akong tatanungin nyo, asiwa ito sapagkat how can you separate an irrigation agency from the agency that plants? How can you separate an agency that stabilizes the prices of products of agriculture from the agency which produces the products?
So in other
How can
words,
you separate coconut from the Department of Agriculture?
correct. So in other words, kahit
Ang
hindi...
ibig ko sabihin, asiwa itong... Actually, asiwa itong setup na ito. Kaya nga, hiningi ko sa Presidente yung kanyang comment on this issue. At ang sabi niya, these agencies should be returned to the Department of Agriculture. I'm just waiting for the EO to be signed. But personally, ang sabi ng Pangulo sa akin, and I will quote him on this, sabi niya, ba't niyo pa dagdagan ng trabaho ko? Kasi under the Office of the President yung 4 na ahensya. Sabi niya, ba't niyo pa dagdagan ng trabaho ko? Ibalik sa iyo yan. No? Pero siyempre, hindi naman ako pwedeng dumikta, no? As a soldier, no? Kung anong desisyon ng presidente, kung kailan niya pipirmahan yung EO, I'll just wait for it.
Okay, just on a lighter note, sir, nung isang buwan ay nag-post kayo sa Facebook na binigyan kayo ng isang mamahaling relo, halos worth kalahating milyong piso ng isang opisyal ng malaking agricultural company, pero isinuuli nyo ang regalong ito. Pakikwento lang, Mr. Secretary, para saan daw ba ang regalong ito? May hinihingi bang pabor sa inyo? Yan, pinapakita namin ngayon sa TV screens yung relo na, I guess, umabot na sa opisina nyo bago nyo sinuuli. Ano ba yung kwento tungkol dito?
Well, wala naman. I will not even give malice to the act of, giving a high official of government that kind of gift. In fact, hindi lang naman ako eh. Kinantsawan ako ni Pangulong Duterte dun, pero ang totoo niyan, siya din, binigyan din siya ng Rolex. Sinauli niya rin. Mas nauna pa siya. No? Si Secretary Bongo, alam ko, binigyan din ng Rolex, ipinasauli din. You know, I'm just following the example of the President. Hindi kami pwedeng tumanggap ng ganong mga regalo because whether I like it or not, it would actually compromise my independence in decision making. Sapagkat kung tinanggap ko yun at balang araw ay may hihilinging pabor yung mga taong nagbigay sa akin noon, natural human reaction na naman yun. Natural human habit. No? Na kung sino yung nakapagbigay ng pabor sa'yo, parang bibigyan mo rin pabor in return. No? So I did not want to commit myself to that situation. And I have always maintained dito sa Department of Agriculture, HOE, that ginawa ko yun to set an example to the people of the Department of Agriculture. In fact, my challenge in the Department of Agriculture is this: show proof that I'm involved in any form of corruption in this department, and you don't even have to file charges against me. I will resign voluntarily. But if you cannot find any proof that I'm corrupt, you better follow what I'm telling you, or else I'll kick you out of this agency. So it's actually leadership by example. And I hope that people will understand that when I posted that, actually, my intention was not to brag about it or even lift my own chair, but I was just simply sending and conveying a message to the workers in the Department of Agriculture that we have to, hold on to high standards in government service. You know, government for so long has been perceived as a corruption-laden institution. I think the time has come for us, under the leadership of this president, who abhors corruption, to show to the people that there is really change under the Duterte administration.
Kaya rin si kayo napapag-usapan dahil active din po kayo sa social media. Naging viral din po yung post nyo kamakailan na tungkol sa mga nagpapautang ng 5-6. May mga nagsasabi, bakit naman daw na single out po yung mga Indian sa ating bansa? Meron din namang mga loan sharks na Pilipino at maaaring iba pang lahi, no? Sa Pilipinas.
Meron ba? Hindi, actually, common knowledge naman yan, Howie. Huwag na tayong magbulahan. Common knowledge naman yan na yung mga umiikot na nakamotor, there was nothing racist about it. No? But the fact remains na yung umiikot lang talaga, na nagpapautang ng na nakamotor, ay yung mga kapatid nating kung ayaw lang tawaging Bombay, I did not even think that the name Bombay is derogatory. Parang Pinoy din lang siguro yan. Tawag sa atin Pinoy. Is it derogatory? I don't think so. May mga ganung pangalan kasi na wala namang mali siya. But we have always referred to them as Bombay. And please do not accuse me of being racist. That's farthest from the truth. No? Kaya ko lang naman binanggit yun dahil napag-usapan during the cabinet meeting. Kasi nga, alam nyo, ang problema natin actually, in the guise of helping the poor, etong mga nagpapautang ng 5-6 actually, are causing a lot of miseries to the poor people. Bigyan mo ng 5,000 isang vendor. Sa isang buwan pa, babayaran mo yan. 200 piso isang araw. Tingin mo ba, let's look at this, no? From a business perspective. Tingin mo ba yung kapital mo na 5,000 tutubo ng 200 isang araw? I don't think so. So kapag ang pautang mo ay ganyan, magpapautang ka ng 5,000, mangungulekta ka ng 200 bawat araw, talagang uubusin mo yung tao na yan. Instead of helping him, you will actually push him down further. But government is not coming into this controversy with holding an empty bag. No? That's the reason why during the cabinet meeting, in-announce ni Secretary Mon Lopez na ready na ang Department of Trade and Industry na i-implementa yung kanilang micro-lending program, which is 1 billion initially to start with. The Department of Agriculture has already been implementing since I assumed office, the Punla program, no? Yung aming lending program for farmers and fisher folks na walang interest, walang collateral, 6% interest per annum, at maximum of 150,000 pesos per loan applicant. No? Ito po, para ito sa mga fishermen and farmers na pwedeng mag-avail sila ng programang ito. No? At ito po, binababa namin sa isang credit cooperative na siya pong nagsisilbi na conduit ng Department of Agriculture through the Agricultural Credit and Policy Council under Joyce Badiola. No? So ito po yung ini-implement na natin, nakapag-download na po kami ng pera and nag-uumpisa ng umutang yung mga tao natin dito. So in proposing the eradication of this oppressive and unjust 5-6 lending practice, government is coming in with a fund actually, 1 billion initially. Pero ang sabi ng Pangulong Duterte, next year, sa budget for 2018, ang sabi niya, he will put up 1 billion pesos per region na hahawakan ng Department of Trade and Industry doon sa kanilang small business corporation na ipapautang in the same manner that the Bombays and the other 5-6 lenders are also lending their money minus the very high interest rates. So ito lang yung backgrounder niyan, Howie. It was actually a campaign commitment of the President, just like free irrigation, just like the SSS premium. Now he is looking into the fulfillment of his commitment to liberate the poor from the unfair, unjust, and oppressive 5-6 lending system.
Okay, interesting conversation as always. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panahon. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol.
Salamat din po.